Whoop whoop. Awesome. So today is Thursday, January 28th, and we are live from Southside Jamaica, Queens with Father Forum Part 2. This will be recorded, so if you miss it, you'll be able to see it at a later time. Quashi, send me a request. I can't wait to have this wonderful discussion tonight. Our conversation will be regarding the dope participants. Did I do it? Oh, yay! Hi! You look amazing.
Thank you.
I see you're not showing that sweater, but whatever. Assistant to the regional manager. I heard your best friend got you that for Christmas.
Absolutely did. Thank you very much.
Okay, I have to always remember to stay so professional when I'm talking to you. So I'm going to keep it together and not be inappropriate because you are the Dr. Jonathan Quash. All right, everybody. So we have the Dr. Jonathan Quash. Let me give a little introduction for those who don't know, even though I feel like everyone knows you. He is the director of the Men's Center at York College. I first met him years ago at York College. He was my gospel choir music professor, and years later turned out to be not only my supervisor, but my bestie, and I love him, and I can't contain myself. So I know you have to go, so we're going to keep this brief, but this is part 2 of the Father Forum, and we're going to explore fatherhood. But before we do, I just want to know, can you just explain to us what the Black Male Initiative Program is, and how did the Fatherhood Initiative Program develop from that?
I'd love to, but I've never heard of it. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
You see, it's hard to stay serious with you.
I'm sorry. It's because it's after 5. Anyway, the Black Male Initiative is a program out of the City University of New York that began in 2004. That was actually, it began out of a pilot program from in Medgar Evers College with Dr. Edison Jackson. He sort of created a sort of pilot program to kind of reach some of the young men in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. And so the university found it to be quite effective and quite quite something that they thought they should kind of embrace in university-wide. So they created a program to address the needs of what we categorize as underrepresented populations, and that just simply means in higher education. That is, they're a minority of individuals in higher ed. So they so the BMI, the Black Male Initiative Program, is a university-wide program. I think they're up to about 23 or 24 projects in it now, university-wide. So it's about maybe 3,000 students, I believe, who are currently in it, university-wide. And so one of the areas of concern or need was fathers, particularly non-custodial fathers. So they created out of this program, which by the way is funded by the New York City Council. The program featured some campuses that wanted to address the needs of fathers. So 3 campuses, the LaGuardia Community College, Kingsborough, and Hostos, have a what's called the Fatherhood Academy. And so the Fatherhood Initiative, which is what your college has, is something that came out of the need to address students from the community college who were graduating and ultimately left to then become part of a senior college, but still wanted those same services and support structures that they received in the community college. So we created the Fatherhood Initiative, which we've had many. It's actually stemmed from some work that some social work students did with me years ago, up until now, where you are now directing that program and doing an amazing job with it. And this platform is actually one of the first that we've ever done in terms of online with it. But it is something that is meant to address the needs of non-custodial fathers as well as custodial fathers, not just at York, but throughout the community, the larger community.
Okay. Wow. And also, thank you for entrusting me with your marvelous program. So,
It's my pleasure, and may I just say, because for those who don't know, Maya, everyone knows Maya as a singer, but for years she's always had, I don't want to call it a side hustle, I call it a second career in social service, and she's always been, even through all the years of The Voice and American Idol and auditioning and BET and everything else, she's always been working with people. For most people don't know that about her, but she's always been doing something to help people. And so it was when she transitioned into social work in terms of degree, because Maya has several degrees.
oh
But
God.
when she transitioned into, she has a lot of degrees. Come to think of it, more than I do. But she transitioned into social work. It was a natural transition because she had done so much work in the community already, and so her working with social workers, and then also moving into the graduate program at York, it was an easy fit because, again, I had worked with social workers and social work students from the past in the Fatherhood Initiative, so it was very, very easy to do. And you have really, really embraced it and done an amazing job with it, and taking it to levels that has not seen before. And I really, really want to thank you for that.
Well, I mean, I know you get very modest. You hate gifts. You hate compliments. But since you went there, I mean, I just want to also piggyback because you are definitely my inspiration, because there's not many people who are musical artists, musicians that can also almost effortlessly transition into like the professional world, no matter what field it is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if it's higher education or opening up a daycare. Like, just being an artist and stepping into like the professional world is so hard to balance it out. And you are definitely like my number one inspiration. I'm like, how does he do it? Just like many people don't know about multiple sides of my life, a lot of people don't know about you. Like, this guy's going to Bangkok, he's touring in Thailand, Italy. You're so talented. But when we go to your college, we just see PhD, Dr. Quash, higher education. I'm like, yeah, he's definitely super multifaceted in many talents, many forms. And I look up to that. How could I balance my music career while also maintaining work and still helping my community? So I really thank you for being my inspiration and offering me this opportunity.
Thank you so much. I will just say, only because I know he's on the call, my goal in life is to be like Marcel Crooks.
Oh, you see it, Trey? Oh my God, I see it. Rep the alternative.
He's the reason, I'll be honest with you, he's the reason why I do all I do, because he's one of the most amazing young men I've ever met in my life. And has been in my class, also one of my former students in the program. And anyway, I'll go, there's another show about him, I'm sure. But he's an amazing young man. He's done some amazing things, and I really look up to him.
Me too. There's being a social worker, and then there's being a social worker for like Southside. I mean, it takes heart and grit and passion. So I definitely love Trey. He's definitely amazing. I look up to you, Trey.
Yes, I do too.
So we got the Fatherhood Initiative program was birthed from everything that you mentioned, like everything things of that nature. But I also want to know, because I know you on a personal level, and I know that you're a father. So how do these programs relate to you in terms of your personal inspiration? Like, how are you personally and professionally inspired by these programs?
Inspiration is right here in this cup. No, I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
I can't.
People that know me like, what? Anyway, yes, I'm inspired, and that's the reason why I brought up Trey or Marcel, because I'm inspired by his work. I'm inspired by, and I'll name a lot of people, Trey or Marcel. I'm inspired by Irshad Ishmael. I'm inspired by Kevin Gomez. I'm inspired by
Kevin Eason said, my man.
Kevin Eason. I'm inspired by Emmanuel Toulouse. I'm inspired by Jonathan Cassell, because I know he's on this call. I'm inspired by a lot of people who have worked in our program, and Varsha Messier is another amazing individual who's
Yes.
on the call, who's done
she's
more.
amazing.
She's oh my God, I could write a book on Varsha Messier. I mean, she, you know, from changing majors to fainting in the office, but anyway, and having to deal with pictures of princess. But I mean, that's what inspires me. That's what keeps me going, and that's how I essentially build the programs that I have. I have a daughter. I have a young man who I consider my son, who's changing his name to mine. But so they inspire me to you know, to try to do more for those who don't have. So for young men who don't have, you know, I try to be there to be someone that they can turn to. I even, you know, I give anyone my phone number at any time. You know, they might be filtered, but still, I give them my number so they
the Google number.
yeah, because I can't. I'm kidding. No,
Listen.
but I do think that it's important to be a role model and mentor. And by role model, I don't necessarily mean everything has to be like lined up. But the idea is also Prince Charles is awesome mentor as well. He inspires me as well. But to simply have sometimes the right. That's not my number, Marsha. Sometimes the right. It means just to have the right answer sometimes at the right time. Sometimes it may not necessarily mean that, you know, I have mentees now. I have one of my mentees contacted me today just out of the blue, and you know him, Stephen Pink, and he's, you know, he constantly checks up on me, and I try to check up on him as much as possible. But the idea is to sometimes just to be there. It doesn't have to. You don't have to necessarily be, you know, have a formal session and, you know, and do like formal mentoring, but just to kind of be there so someone can turn. So to be there so someone can turn to you and say, you know what, you know, I just need someone to hear me out. And you mentor tons of people too. I've seen you in theater take someone aside and kind of like and help mentor people, even singers. I've seen you talk to them and then
they need it. Let me stop.
and try to encourage them, because, you know, singing the arts are rough.
Yeah.
And it can be, and being in front of I mean, you and I both have seen, I've been in the same play with you, and people have left the stage in tears because they felt like they crashed. It's tough, but you know, you have mentored people, which is why social work is such a great fit for you, because, you know, you do such a natural mentoring to people, and you really talk to people. I have people, you don't know this, but I'll tell you, people who have talked to you, who work for me, saying, you know, I just love what Miya has said, has done, and has inspired me. And you know, that's, I think, what our role is, whether it's fatherhood or whether it's motherhood, whether it's sisterhood or brotherhood, right? Or whether, whatever it is. I just wrote that. Nobody copyright, nobody trademark that.
Listen.
But it's the idea is just to be there, you know, to be there for someone who needs it, because everyone's going to need someone at some point in time. It's hard to live on an island your whole life, so I think that's the point. So that's where my programming comes from.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it. Like, I know you professionally, I know you personally, so I know that you're a dad, but you know, biologically speaking, but I've watched everyone who you've taken under your wing, you know, even if you're not old enough, you know, look up to you as that father figure. Like, I've seen you feed people, like, I mean, providing in ways, giving people jobs. So we definitely appreciate you, and I definitely see the connection with your personal and professional life and the Fatherhood Initiative program. And I mean,
and I will say, and I left out, and I apologize, I left out a big part. I have 15 minutes. Don't rush me. So I will.
You were the one that have to fly to Bangkok. He's so famous and busy.
My biggest inspiration, and I will say this, but I'll get teary-eyed, is my father. He was, you know, though my parents were divorced when I was 7, but he never failed to take the time to come to me. He used to try to. He was an accountant and started his own business in Brooklyn, and he'd work all day, 12 hours, and then just to be with me, he'd come over, and my brother, he'd come over and just sit in my apartment until my mother came home. He'd be dead tired. He would sit there and just fall asleep, and we couldn't even get to talk. But he just wanted to be there, to be present. So, those sacrifices, that he made, and to carry me around to like the 125 Mart and places in Harlem that he used to go to all the time, and just different places, introduced me to different people. Sometimes his accounting firm was on Union Street, 1214 Union Street, and close to Eastern Parkway, and it was a store like right off the corner, and in the heart of Bed-Stuy there. And so when clients would come, I would have to go in the back. And I just remember growing up in the back of this like really cold store with just like Chinese food, but just eating that and just pretending to be an accountant and making my own little book.
Oh my God!
Not my profession at all. Horrible with numbers, but just being able to be with him was enough. I couldn't really do much until the store closed and the gates came down. Then I can come out and then act stupid. but the idea is having someone, again, don't have to be necessarily married to my mother, because they were not. But the reality is they were still friends, and then they were able to allow me and my brother to still have that relationship, as if he were there.
Wow. You just said so much. See, this is why I have to come back for a part 3, part 4, because you said the key word like 6 times, just being there. Yeah, your father was just there for you. You're being there for your mentees. I'm there. Like sometimes, like you said, you don't have to necessarily give anything physical or anything, but just being there for people. And when it comes to fatherhood, I know, unfortunately, fatherhood kind of gets swept under the rug, like, because mothers are always so praised. But that's because I don't think all fathers realize, sometimes you just need to be there. And a lot of fathers are discouraged because everyone is, putting pressure, and you need to provide, and you have to do that. But sometimes your baby just needs a hug or a present. Like your dad was just sitting there falling asleep, but it was him being there. And I think we need to, I love this program and other programs adjacent. Like we just need to continue to send out the message to just be there, encourage fathers, young and old. It's not too late. I don't care if you have a newborn or a 20-year-old son. Like, it's just a really, really beautiful message.
Well, and one of the things I think that sometimes, on your point, is that what young fathers especially don't do or know is that they're really afraid. The ones that I have talked to, they're afraid of what to do. They're afraid of what they don't know, or afraid to make a mistake. So one of the mistakes that they make is to try to be the friend of their son, like to try to be. And I'm not gonna, there's a couple of people I know who did this, but trying to be so much of a friend and a buddy, but that's not your role. Your role is to be sometimes to be the bad cop. But my daughter, for instance, she's very well disciplined young lady, and I love her to death. But I've never ever once laid a hand on her. Never.
My birthday twin.
Yeah, that's right. Birthday twin. I've never had to lay a hand on her because one of the things I tried to instill in her was that whatever you do is a reflection upon Miya and your mother. So make sure that if you don't want to embarrass or hurt us, then don't do anything like that. And she's always lived by that. And I think that parents need to understand there is a tier, there's parents and then there's kids, and it's okay when you get older, like 20s, 30s or something, you can pal around with mom and dad, but when they're younger in the formative years, there really needs to be a hierarchy so that when that time comes for you to lay the law down, there is not this like, shut up, man, there is nothing like that, because that would be challenging. So it's okay not to be a friend, but you need to be someone who they can turn to, obviously, and feel comfortable with.
Right.
But they should be able to go to you for that discipline that they need, because a lot of times they are looking for that structure, because their life can be chaotic. As a teenager, your life can be chaotic. So you need something steady. You need something strong.
Stability, yeah.
Exactly, and that's and it's hard to do that when you're trying to be
He's his friend,
a
right?
friend, yeah, or his or her. It's hard
Right,
to
right,
do
right,
that.
right, right. Wow, that's amazing. Fear, yes. I was just talking about that
Hmm.
to David, the person who we're gonna speak to next. Like,
Hmm.
a lot of young men they're nervous, they're intimidated. It's like, how do I be a father? People gonna judge me. It's a long topic, a long discussion, but it definitely needs to be had.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, we're here to encourage,
yeah.
support anybody who needs to talk or get any resources or guidance. CUNY York College, baby, we here for you.
That's it. YC Men Center.
Right. Look up
Exactly,
Dr. Jonathan Quash,
exactly. No,
DR.
don't. It's not about me, but it's about the
I
people.
know.
Like people like Irshad joined us. I rely upon him still as a graduate student. Finished his graduate program, and I still rely upon him because he's amazing.
Mm.
Trey, I rely upon. Varsh, I rely upon because they still do the work. I
Mm.
rely upon Aaron, and you know Aaron very well. I
Oh,
rely
yeah.
upon Kevin, George, and the guys who I have now in the program, who are
Yeah.
absolutely amazing guys. And those are the ones who do it. I just literally just sit there and make fun of people all day. I don't do much of anything in
Michael
terms of
Scott.
the work. Michael
Our
Scott.
Michael Scott.
Michael Scott.
You know what? I can't. Before you go to Bangkok, I just want to ask
Uh-huh.
you one more question.
Yeah.
He's not going to Bangkok, guys. And yes, we see you,
I'm
Trey.
trying. I'm
You
trying.
you trying to go right now? You're a star. You'll be
Well,
flued
it's just
out, as Cardi says.
the traveling thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was gonna ask. If,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna hop in. Trey is right. He does father his sister.
right, I was gonna say that.
He brought his sister into me first day of school and said, please take care of her.
Yeah, and she just
like a good,
graduated. I think she
yes,
was a 2020 grad.
like a good dad would do.
Yeah, good. Listen, fathering comes in many forms, man. You don't have to
Yeah,
give birth to the person to be there for them. So
yeah. You look amazing, Maya. I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments.
that. Oh, right, Johnny from La Boss.
Johnny, there's two of us on this call. No, I'm just kidding. I'm only kidding. I'm just kidding.
Johnny's an amazing
I
singer.
don't know Johnny. Probably I'm gonna block me now. Sorry.
He's gonna block you. No, don't block him. Okay, so I mean, this is gonna be a large question. So how could you squeeze such an answer? But
I'll do my
if
best.
you could give one profound piece of advice to a student who's a father regarding balancing their parenting life and their academic life, what would that advice be, or what would that advice look like?
Well, that's a good one. So I think the key. I know when I was. I don't know how old I was, but when I was younger and I was director of the Men's Center, I had a friend of mine who I used to work with actually in an old department store that's long gone. I don't want to give my age, but it's a store called A&S. Anyway, so
What?
Abraham and Strauss. So like, I never heard of that. Anyway, it used to be big like Macy's. So I used to work with a young lady there and she and I became friends. I'm sorry, Johnny. I'll say, don't worry. She and I became friends, and I got to know her kids. She and her husband were going through a divorce, and so I got to know her children. And she worked for she worked for, I forgot what she worked at the time. It was NTA, I'm not sure. But she had 3 children who were relatively close in age, at the same age as my daughter. My daughter was a little younger than her kids.
Okay.
And so one of the things that I did, I helped her. I used to pick her kids up from school, bring them to my office with me until she got off work, because she got off right by the E train right out of the
Wow.
center, and would come and pick them up. So sometimes I think one of the things that is important is to surround yourself with a network of support that is wonderfully supportive and non-toxic, right? So meaning
supportive and non-toxic.
Right, meaning people that will allow you to you can lean on when you need to, particularly for her case as a single mom at the time, and her husband who passed away, but her husband was not able to support because he was also working for transit and the schedules were just different. So she said, can you please help me? So I would have those 3 kids and my daughter all in the office, all in the office at the same time, working on homework and doing everything else. For hours, maybe 3-4 hours, and then I have to feed them and all that. So it was a challenge. And then when I got the call that she had to work overtime, then I have to go to the park and try to play on something, try to run them tired so when they get in the car they go to sleep.
Right, just knock out.
But the idea is the key is to have support, to have a structure around you so that people who you are close to can kind of like see the need and be able to help you out. That is really the only way. It's impossible. You can't even raise. We can't even grow a plant without consulting Google or why are my leaves falling off my poinsettia. Right. Or even a goldfish. I have fish over there, and why some of them just fly to their death and swim to their death in the filter. But so I'll go to Google. That's a whole nother show. 6 of them. Anyway, I go to Google and we'll try to find out. What you need help, right? I can't do this on my own.
It takes a village.
It takes a village, and so the idea was to really make sure you surround yourself with supportive people, not toxic people who are going to intrude upon your relationship, but people who will actually support you in being able to do the things that you need to do and to raise the child in a loving environment. And that's really what's important. I think you and I both saw in the news recently a father on the subway platform who was it's just in the news yesterday and today on the subway platform who had struck his 2 children repeatedly. And it's a tremendous outcry about this because someone filmed it. He struck one little girl in the head and turned to the little boy, was shaking him and choking him. And it's a horrible thing because, obviously there's a lot to unpackage with that. But imagine those kids in another environment where they can be around a non-toxic relationship and someone that can actually nurture and support them. Now, those seeds of hate that he has planted in them will grow, right? And so when they get older, there's going to be a lot of unraveling that has to take place. But if we can provide, because the goal is not about me, it's about them. It's about the children. So providing that atmosphere for them that they would really like to be surrounded by love and support and care and joy and laughter. That's really the goal. You don't have to have money to do that. You just have to be there.
Right. There it is. Hashtag be there. That's the hashtag of 2021.
That's because I'm the assistant to the regional manager and I know how to be there.
You're amazing. Quash, thank you so much. I'm pretty sure people are watching and like, wow, I like this guy. I'm gonna fly to York now. Let me stop.
Johnny's gonna block me. I'm telling you. I don't know. I don't know. He's like, let me tell you something. I don't know what that guy is. Think he is.
Oh my God, Johnny is so cute. But thank you so much, Quash. You're so helpful, and I know that people are and will always be inspired by you. Thank you for your kind remarks. Thank you for your advice, and thank you for being such a great leader in our community.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I thank you for this platform, for all you do. And you are so beautiful to me. I can't sing anymore, but thank you. I appreciate you.
Don't do that, because I'll whip out my keyboard. Imagine.
Crunchy flakes.
Frosty flakes.
Crunchy flakes. You got it.
Yeah, thank you. Crunchy flakes. Crunchy flakes. Oh, Quashy, thank you so much.
Is your
limousine outside?
It is actually, so I gotta go, but I've been waiting long enough, trying to get up. I'm in my penthouse here. But anyway.
Got that PhD money. Are you left? Are you still here?
No, I'm still here. Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I thought you left. Yeah. The screen went blank.
Yeah, I touched it. Let me see. Well, anyway, thank you for this, and I'm going to stick around and watch the rest of the show and see,
Okay.
What you got going on. All right.
Okay. Thank you, Quashy.
Bye. See you guys.
Bye. Okay, so that was my bestie / supervisor / So now we're going to bring on David from A Father's Purpose. Thank you, Trey. He said Maya's charisma with Quash's sarcasm. Man, this made my night. Listen, imagine being in meetings with this guy. He is so funny. My eyeliner's running. All right, David, I think you're gonna I think you're gonna have to send me a request. You might have to like exit out and then come back in and send a request if I'm not mistaken. So the next person we're gonna have here, his name is David Lewis. Oh, there we go. And he's from Brooklyn, and he has his own program called A Father's Purpose, which he's going to briefly share with us. David,
Maya,
hi!
hey, hey,
How are
hey.
you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. You looking all vibrant and stuff.
You know, I had to get the ring light going.
Listen, okay? Because my ring light is up and running. Okay? She's always ready. So first of all, again, everybody, this is Mr. David Lewis. And he was with us for part 1 of the Father Forum. And we did a really, I mean, we dug really deep. And you almost had me crying when you were talking about your baby boy. So we're not gonna go there again. So real quick before we get into like some discussion, can you just tell everybody, remind us about A Father's Purpose?
Sure. Maya, let me start off by saying first, thank you for having me on again. I am delighted to be here. It is an honor. What I will say secondly is that, you know, I guess I can't compete with you and Dr. Quash singing. So I guess, you know, I already lost that
Don't you
battle.
sing? No, don't you sing?
Ish in the shower, you know, at bedtime when I've got to sing my son to sleep. I guess that counts, right?
Okay, I'm gonna have to check up on that later. Wait, let me be flat. Let me stop. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Don't let
Oh,
my
no,
foolishness
no.
interrupt you.
Yeah, so a father's purpose. I started a father's purpose a little while ago to really help create a network of dads and help support fathers, particularly Black fatherhood. So our organization is open to serve all dads, but I know that there is a serious need in the Black community. Myself, growing up without a father, I know the struggles, the challenges that young boys face, and of course, young women as well, growing up without a father in their lives. And so a father's purpose is there to not only educate dads, but provide them a network of support in hopes that we can change the way that society views Black dads.
Listen, I love it because A Father's Purpose, and when I found out about A Father's Purpose, and I'm doing Fatherhood Initiative, um, it almost aligns because it has similar goals and similar focus. But what I love about A Father's Purpose is when you explained to me that one of your goals is also to change policy. I was like, whoa,
Mhm.
that's huge. Coming from a social worker too, that really excited me because I mean, we change on an individual one-on-one level or local level, but when you start changing policies, it starts moving to a macro level, and globally it is just, it changes, because I know that you guys like go through a lot of stuff, like fathers just, it gets really sticky when it comes to fathers, and in comparison to mothers, you know what I'm saying, in terms of legalities and all that stuff. So I really appreciate your program, your organization, and I look forward to continuing to collab with you in the
Yeah,
future.
definitely. Thank you. I mean, yeah, like you said, it can get really sticky. And so, at a father's purpose, we're not here to bring anyone down. We're only here to lift people up.
Mm.
And so, our goal is to make sure that, yes, you know, we already know that moms are great, moms are excellent, moms are
Mhm.
resilient, moms are
Mhm.
phenomenal. But dads are also just as great, just as resilient, and just as phenomenal.
Yes.
Unfortunately, and primarily in communities of color,
Mhm.
um, you know, dads are, you know, they take the brunt of society's displeasure in them because of a lot of absentee fathers or struggles that men have gone through historically because of their color of their skin or other reasons that cause them not to be in their children's lives. So
Right.
our goal is to just generationally change that, change
Mhm.
the way society views that, and because
Mhm.
once that can happen, we really feel like we can put our stamp on policy.
Mm. Woo! Come on and preach. Hey. Come on, change that policy. That's where it starts, baby. And we've been doing a lot of policy changing in 2020, so that really hits home for me. We're going to go into some of the questions that we have. So in part one of the Father Forum, we talked about how the lack of your father's presence influenced your current fatherhood and what you were calling daddycation. So can we just retouch on that? And I know we went to talk about abandonment issues. So can we reflect on that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, we had a great time of Father Forum Part One. And one of the things that we focused on was dedication. And so essentially what dedication is making sure first and foremost that you as a dad are being taken care of, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, so that you've got the well-being, the strength to take care of your children, your loved ones. And we talked about the analogy of when you're on a plane, God forbid the plane is about to crash, the flight attendants, you hear something that goes over the loudspeakers that say, adults, please put your mask on before you put the children's mask on. Why? Because if you're incapacitated, then you really can't help anybody out. And it's the same way. You've got to take care of yourself first before you take care of your loved ones. And unfortunately, we always see our kids, oh, I've got to take care of my kids. I've got to take care of my kids, which there's nothing wrong with wanting to take care of your kids, but you can't do it when your battery's dead. So you've got to make sure that you take care of yourself.
Absolutely. You got to recharge. You got to recharge. Okay. So now we're going to move into, also, I want to let you know that dedication is DADDYCATION, right? I just want to be clear.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
dedication, it's dedication. Can we just briefly talk about, 2020 has been insane, right? And being a dad in 2020, I know you were homeschooling. A lot of fathers and mothers were homeschooling. And now we passed the threshold, and here we are in 2021, and we're like, 2021 is here. All of our problems have disappeared. And wrong answer.
Right.
So can you talk to me about kind of the continuation of the resilience, like post-elections, post the Capitol invasion, and just what does that mean for you as a dad, your son watching our first ever person of color in the seat of the VP? Like, what does all that mean from a father's perspective?
So I tell you, 2020 was just, that's what it was,
Right.
And so, everyone looked forward to 2021, right? Because we assumed that the moment that the clock struck to midnight, that we would forget everything that happened last year. But we all know that's
over.
Pandemic's over. We're walking into a new administration, new beginnings, new changes, transitions. So, we were hoping for transitions in our lives as well. And then, the attack on the Capitol happened. People still attacking people of brutality against people of color keep progressing. And so like none of these things really changed, and so I didn't realize how big these issues were. And when I say that, like, I always knew there was an issue, with either the police and communities of color, or communities of color just not being honored in the same fashion that our white counterparts are. But when it got to my 4-year-old son realizing how big of an issue it was, I was like, wow. He was very well aware. He understood what was going on. Like it got to a point where I said, I can't even watch the news around him because he knows, he knows. And so it was difficult because he was aware of a lot of things. He was aware that at 4, the color of his skin meant something, and that you could be treated differently because of the color of your skin. Wow. He understood that there were certain people that were treating other people that were Black or, minorities being treated poorly for the color of their skin. So it was a really difficult time. So having to have those kind of conversations with my son to understand that there are, certain people in the world that just want to do bad things, and they want to treat some people badly because of the color of their skin. But with that, I also had to let her know that just because people are doing that doesn't mean that you by being a little Black boy, your value shouldn't be demeaned at all. Like your value, if anything, should go up. It should never go down. And so I feel like it was my job to make sure that I was instilling that confidence in him that, yes, you are a Black boy, you're a handsome Black boy, you are a tall Black boy, you can you like to read, you like to write, you like to play, you've got Black boy joy, like anything that was like about, pushing forward his confidence. I was all about it because I didn't want his his mindset to change at such a young age.
Wow. Woo! It is getting deep. Listen, with the news, everything is happening so fast before our kids' eyes, and I feel like children are becoming more and more sharp. So it's hard to hide things from them. And even if you don't put the news on, when you're walking outside, they're also seeing things, with their own eyes. And it's inevitable. Like there's always a teachable moment. And the moment isn't always pleasant, unfortunately. So he's definitely lucky to have a dad like you who can communicate that to him at such a young age. He's only 4, and he's going to remember everything that you're doing for him. And he's going to remember all of this. I remember things from when I was 4 and the lessons that my parents taught me. So you planting these seeds and just continue to educate your son. It's super needed. It's super important. It's a lot. How did he react or respond to our VP, Miss Kamala?
So he was extremely excited about the VP being the first woman of color in the White House as vice president. And so for him, it was an additional game changer, because although he was young, he was just being born when he wasn't even born yet when President Obama came to the White House, but he knows who President Obama is. It's like he'll watch the news and be like, oh, that's President Obama, But for him to live, to live while Kamala Harris went to the White House and be able to see the inauguration was a big deal for him and a big deal for us at home. So we were really excited.
We have a question from Manny. Manny, hi Manny. We went to your college together.
Hey Manny.
He said, what are some tips you can give for inspiring father, ways to prepare for our future children? And congratulations, Manny. You just got engaged.
Congratulations, Manny. That's awesome news. So I understand he's an expectant dad, or he's just saying, what kind of tips can you provide when the children come down the line?
Yeah, I think he's just asking for future purposes.
Okay. One of the first things I'll say goes back to dedication, right? You've got to make sure that you take care of yourself first, right? I think many times and that's how we are as humans, right? The moment that we're going to face some kind of a challenge or an opportunity, doesn't have to be, something negative, but some kind of opportunity, we start to beef up in anticipation of that, right? But that's only when we're about to face it immediately, so like if you're about to have a child 9 months from now, as a man anyway, I can speak on a man. Oh, well, I've got to start making sure like I'm good financially. I know how to do certain things for my child, leading up to the birth of your child, right? Right, get the diapers, do all these, change the diapers, be able to burp the child, all these kind of things, right? But thinking just long term, if you're engaged now and eventually you want children, just start working on that. If there's a daddy issue that you've got and you don't want that to be passed on from you to your child, then you need to start working on that even before the child is born.
Right, between him and his father, like Manny and his son. Okay.
Right. If there is, right? Or it could be, or it may not even be a daddy issue. It can be a challenge that has to do with emotional intimacy, communication challenges, whatever those challenges are, because children pick up these things quickly, right? And they pick up bad habits faster than they pick up good habits. So if, you're going to, so if you're going to share, if you know that you've got a bad habit, you think you can hide it, chances are you're not going to do a good job hiding it because you're going to be 100% you in front of your child, right? And so your child will pick that up quickly. So start learning how to be conscious in the action that is being an issue for you and start
Mm.
working on that. So when your child comes, you are consciously aware of certain flaws that don't need to be flaws that you worked on. So by the time that your children are born, they're able to pick up things. That's not a habit. That's not a problem for you any longer.
Mm. Woo! You are dropping those gems, Lord. Listen, and that makes so much sense because you would see a toddler picking up your bad traits, or like maybe they'll say something like, "Where'd you learn that word from?" And it's like, yeah, they pick up the bad faster than they pick up the good. Like it's
Hmm.
so. Children are amazing beings, man. They are just. Woo, they're sponges. They soak up everything. So you definitely have to be aware of everything you're doing, everything you're eating, everything you're saying, how you're responding, when you're rolling your eyes. They pick up all that. I was just watching my niece this last weekend, and she's turning 2 in April, and
So cute.
she would not take her eyes off me, and she was just like, and I started working
Hmm.
out, and then she got down and started working out. And I was brushing my teeth, and then she's not even 2 yet. But I was just watching her in amazement. Like she was just like, I could see her soaking it in. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? And I'm imagining, what if I was like a negative auntie, or what if I was, on the phone cursing or something like. They see all that stuff, and they're taking it
Hmm.
all in. So these things that you're saying, David, are really, really important in terms of being conscious.
Yeah,
Um, Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No,
So
no, go
just
ahead.
like, yeah, just imagine, if anything, just use this example.
Mhm.
Children are smaller, much smaller than adults, right? And so when they deal with you vertically. They're always looking up to you. That's just their
Mm,
nature, right? Because they're smaller.
right.
So in just that stance of looking up, they're observing you. They're looking at your actions. They're looking at what you're doing because they want to, they want to get on that level. Like they may
Mm,
not be thinking that, but when you think about how we're built, we grow up in stages, right? And so they
yeah.
already know that they're here, you're there, and they want to get to that level. So they're paying attention at all times. So watch what you
Yeah.
say, watch what you do, watch those
Right.
actions, because if your kids are anything like my 4 year old, by the time he starts talking or she starts talking, she's going to say, well, daddy, I think you said this, or I think you were acting like this, or,
Uh-oh.
so be careful.
Yo, it's so crazy when you talk about the levels. My niece does this thing where if you pick her up, I can't describe it, but she lifts up her knees and locks herself into your side so that she don't put her down. And it is I didn't notice it until my mom told me. I was like, why is she doing that? She's like, that means she doesn't want to go back down. And it's so crazy because, yeah, they're like, okay, these cool adults, they're big and they're up there. I want to be up there too. Because I want to
Hmm.
see what y'all are doing. I want to do what y'all are doing. That looks like grown up food. I want this milk. I want that. And she's literally doing what we're doing, wearing what I'm wearing, eating what I'm eating. And it's just, they are literally sponges. So, thank God for our Father's Purpose and Fatherhood Initiative, because people need to, really get this revelation. Everybody doesn't have the guidance. And these organizations and programs are here to let fathers know that you have your support. We got people like David Lewis to give you tips. We got people like Dr. Quash to give advice and give tips and
Hmm.
resources. Because some fathers, they may not be aware. Like, wow, I had no idea that. Because some people think that, oh, until my kid turns 4, 5, 6, nothing else matters. Like, they don't realize that they're soaking that joint up
They're
from
paying
like
attention.
one. Yeah, yeah. But some people don't think, they don't connect that. So that's why we have you. Oh, look, Quashi gave me the thumbs up. Um, Look at me. I don't want to feel like I'm rushing because Quash is over here making me feel like I was rushing him with his famous stuff going to Bangkok. But they cut us off after it hits that hour. So I'm like, I don't want to get cut off. So I want to jump to is it okay with you if I jump to the parenting burnout?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So let's talk about parenting burnout. I mean, I think moms and dad can relate to this, especially in 2020. A lot of people became homeschool moms slash principals, done kicked their kids out of living room school, done suspended them from living room school. And a lot of parents have experienced some type of or some form of burnout. So let's talk about that, David. What tools can a dad use to combat burnout?
So I love this question. So the first tool, and parents will definitely need to use, is honesty.
Oh, I thought you were going to say,
You
do not kick your kids out the house. Don't do that.
No, you've got to be honest with yourself. Many times as parents, we are frustrated because of circumstance that either our kids are driving us crazy, or, you've spent 12 hours straight trying to get this homework assignment done and you can't do it. And then you're staying in the same situation now dealing with your children when like you need yourself a timeout and you don't take it. You're not being honest with yourself. And as a result, you're causing more harm to the environment that you're creating with your child. So the best thing for you to do is be honest. Look, I'm not feeling this right now, or this situation is really driving me mad. If you've got an opportunity to have somebody watch your child for even 5 minutes, all you need is just a little de-stressor to clear your mind.
Right.
It's okay. Look, we all go there. You're human. Just because if you're a parent doesn't make you, Superman or Superwoman,
Right.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even Superman dealt with kryptonite, right? So you've got to focus on being honest, understanding what your triggers are. Work on those triggers. Some people for triggers could be homework. For me, one of the biggest triggers for me was that I had to balance, and many parents are doing with this, right? Balancing my child's instruction with my work responsibilities. And so there were many times where like he was literally right next to me. I have one eye on him on his Zoom class and my other eye on the assignment that I'm working on for my job. So, and just trying to make sure that you're doing both things well at the same time, but you physically can't split your left and your right brain, your left and right brain to do it.
Right.
It was really hard, really stressful. So what I decided to do, I was honest with myself. Look, David, you're trying your best, but it's not working out. So this is what you're going to do. I started making sure that for the hours that my son had his Zoom class, I was all in on his Zoom class. I did all the work that I had to do before that. He had breaks in between. During his breaks, the only thing that he wanted to do was play, and I was happy with that because right after play he'd go back to class. So while he was playing, he'll play in front of me. I've got my computer open, and I'm doing what I needed to do, and I found peace that way. Worked him through class, gave him lunch, put him on his nap, went back to work. He woke up. I'm working now. He's playing. Once my normal work day is over now, I'll play with him, spend some time. We eat dinner, put him to bed. Once he's down to bed, about 1 to 2 hours, I'm finishing up everything that I needed to do.
Look at you! Come on,
and then I close the
Dr.
laptop.
David.
Look, you got to do what you have to do, right? It's really hard, and a lot of parents are dealing with the same issues, right? But I've been reading things or seeing things on television where a lot of moms have talked about their burnout. A lot of moms have shared the struggles that they've had with parenting, but you don't really hear a lot of that with dads, or maybe they're not asking dads those kind of questions. But
that's it right there.
Yeah, dads are dealing with the same thing. So one of the tips is be honest with yourself, understand what your triggers are, and work through those triggers. So if you need to have time to yourself, get that time for yourself, build up some strategy. It doesn't have to be something major. I'm not asking you to change your life, but over time, this will definitely help you in the long run. Because let me tell you, I think we focus on the pandemic being something that's temporary, but remember, life happens in all kinds of stages, right? And so today we've got a health pandemic. You don't know what kind of other pandemic you'll have tomorrow. God forbid, right? But you've got to be ready. And your children are never going anywhere. They're always going to be with you.
Always,
so why not build up your strategy now so that when the next thing comes along, you're ready. You're going to be a dad that's moving, that's loving life, that's working well, that's doing everything, that's supporting your children because you've already got your plan in place.
Right. Woo! Oh man, you definitely said a lot. Preparation is key. And I also thought about what Quash had said before you. Just it takes a village, and kind of start to build a network and a little circle, so that when you do need that time or that 5 minutes or that help, can you pick up my son? Can you just watch her for 30 minutes or whatever, that it's there for you. And it all ties into self-care as well, because the support essentially reduces the stress, because it reduces the burden, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess essentially I would say, find ways to reduce the burden by being prepared, by building your network of individuals. And like you said, learning what your triggers are, learn what they are so that you're prepared for those as well. Being honest with yourself. I don't know, it's definitely a lot, which is why I'm like, this little hour ain't long enough, but it's okay. We'll have more more
We
parts.
definitely will.
Yeah, and I also, for the next time, definitely want to touch into mental health. That's my field. I recently started doing my therapy sessions again, and just channeling into that mental health and just the conscious and stuff like that. So I definitely want to get into that in regard to parenting and family therapy and just unpacking and like you said before, when you giving the advice to Manny, like sometimes you got to figure out or unpack your past before you build on your future. What was your relationship with your dad? You know what I mean? So mental health definitely plays a big role in that, honey. It sure does. But anyway, we have just like 2 minutes left, so I just want to say thank you, David, so much for just sharing. You are such a wonderful man. Like, even with your voice, I feel like I want to go to bed. It's so soothing. It's so soothing. You are just a wonderful guy, a wonderful dad. Your efforts, I mean, people don't know you how, I know you because I've been speaking with you. So I just want to personally say that I really appreciate your efforts as a father, as a believer, as just a man of God, as an artist, huh? Come on, talent. All right, let me stop. So thank you for coming on and sharing. And we're going to continue to build together with your organization, A Father's Purpose. And yeah, everybody follow him on Instagram, A Father's Purpose. You can follow my mental health page, which is Black Excellence _LMSW. Follow Dr. Jonathan Quash. Forgot his Instagram handle. He was just here though. Do you have any last words before they kick us off? I'm so nervous. I feel like so.
No, yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm really appreciative of the opportunity again. Again, Daz, just stay encouraged. I don't know how much time we have, so just stay encouraged. Focus on those triggers, understanding how to work through those triggers, but also go back and find out what really hurts. Like, do that deep research, because I'm telling you, it's going to impact your kids in the future. Whether you want to believe me or not, it will. Kids pick that stuff up. And the last thing you want to do, and which we'll be focusing on the father's purpose, is passing on a curse to your kids. And what that curse is the broken heart, or the lack of communication, or the poor decisions that you've made in your past. You don't want to pass that on to your kids. Start working on that now. We're going to have so much time to talk about that, and I'll have a lot of stuff to share. But again, that's really important. Maya, thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. I see you, Quashy. I think it's Quash Life Goes On. And you also follow Quash's program at York, which is maleinitiative.official. You're going to have to we'll figure it out. But thank you, Quash. Thank you, David. I love you both, and I'll be in touch with you guys, okay?
Thank you. Dr. Quash, thank you.
Everybody for watching. I'm going to repost this.
Thanks.
Bye,
Bye, Maya.
guys.